I, Ronald Reagan, do solemnly swear that
he was swept into office on a tidal wave of popularity and immediately launched an assault on big government.
we've lived beyond our means and then financed our extravagance on the backs of the American people.
His presidency was very nearly cut short by a would-be assassin's bullet. He faced military tragedy and commanded a controversial victory.
Early this morning, forces from 6 Caribbean democracies and the United States began a landing or landings on the island of Grenada.
He was returned to office in a 49-state landslide.
So help me God. My
And was confronted with new crisis. He showed more military muscle.
Air and naval forces of the United States launched a series of strikes against the headquarters, terrorist facilities, and military assets that support Muammar Gaddafi's subversive activities.
He became embroiled in a disturbing political scandal.
I do.
He helped forge a new era in superpower relations. And tonight, Ronald Reagan bid the country farewell.
Goodbye. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
This is ABC News Nightline. Reporting from Washington, Ted Koppel.
On one level, there is something faintly ludicrous about summing up 8 years of a presidency in just a few minutes. Indeed, to begin with, we'll be showing you a montage of video postcards reminding you of some of the high and low points of the Reagan administration. It's intriguing to see how quickly we forget major events that happened just a few years ago. But more to the point, there is also a certain appropriateness to taking a presidency that has leaned so heavily on the charm and photogenuity of the office holder. A presidency that has so often tailored its agenda to the soundbite mentality of America in the 1980s, of taking that presidency and examining it once more within the formula of a television program. History will apply its own standards to Ronald Wilson Reagan, but among the raw material that historians will be obliged to examine are the television images that will remain.
My fellow Americans, this is the 34th time I'll speak to you from the Oval Office, and the last. We've been together 8 years now, and soon it'll be time for me to go.
I, Ronald Reagan, do solemnly swear that I will Government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem. Some 30 minutes ago, the planes bearing our prisoners left Iranian airspace and are now free. Sit down. She is truly a person for all seasons.
But in that same year, we began the actions we felt would ignite an economic comeback. Cut taxes and regulation, started to cut spending, and soon the recovery began.
We brought about the largest tax reductions and the most sweeping changes in our tax structure since the beginning of this century. The government of Lebanon has requested, and I have approved, the deployment of United States forces to Beirut as part of a multinational force. I look forward to conducting relations with the new leadership in the Soviet Union.
The unemployment numbers could hardly be worse. 12 million Americans are officially unemployed, the largest total ever.
The way I see it, there were two great triumphs, two things that I'm proudest of. One is the economic recovery, in which the people of America created and filled 19 million new jobs. The other is the recovery of our morale. America is respected again in the world and looked to for leadership.
As you know, our embassy in Beirut was the target this morning of a vicious terrorist bombing.
Some 2 months ago, we were shocked by the brutal massacre of 269 men, women, and children, more than 60 other Americans, in the shooting down of a Korean airliner. Now, in these past several days, violence has erupted again in Lebanon and Grenada.
United States paratroopers invaded a 5:40 this morning.
captain and crew of the political ship Reagan Bush were out in force today, underlining the official start of the re-election campaign.
Well, I feel that the people of this country made it very plain that they approved what we've been doing.
They called it the Reagan Revolution. Well, I'll accept that. But for me, it always seemed more like the great rediscovery. A rediscovery of our values and our common sense.
The Constitution of the United States. Help me God. So help me God. Congratulations, sir. We are creating a nation once again, vibrant, robust, and alive. But there are many mountains yet to climb. I've spoken recently of the freedom fighters of Nicaragua. They are the moral equal of our founding fathers. I came to Geneva to seek a fresh start in relations between the United States and the Soviet Union, and we have done this.
I want the new closeness to continue, and it will, as long as we make it clear that we will continue to act in a certain way as long as they continue to act in a helpful manner. If and when they don't, at first pull your punches. If they persist, pull the plug.
Suddenly, an explosion.
Pilots of the air and naval forces of the United States spoke to the outlaw Libyan regime in the only language that Colonel Gaddafi seems to understand. I feel like we've just played the World Series of tax reform, and the American people won. I was not fully informed on the nature of one of the activities undertaken in connection with this initiative. This action raises serious questions of propriety.
We've got to do a better job of getting across that America is freedom. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of enterprise, and freedom is special and rare. It's fragile.
Yes, they were ordinary men who did extraordinary things. Yes, they were heroes.
I assumed that the president was aware of what I was doing.
All the business indices are up. There is nothing wrong with the economy. The maxim is, dovii no provii. Trust but verify.
The grand jury indicted 4 defendants.
The unemployment rate dropped another 0.1% last month to 5.6%, the lowest in nearly 9 years.
But George, just one personal request. Go out there and win one for the Gipper.
And liftoff. Americans return to space as discovered.
The budget year ended on September 30th with a deficit of $155 billion.
Mr. President, how did your meeting go?
Look at his smile. Read our smile.
Everything was fine. And we hope it's going to be even better.
My friends, we did it. We weren't just marking time. We made a difference. We made the city stronger. We made the city freer. And we left her in good hands. All in all, not bad. Not bad at all. And so, goodbye. God bless you. And God bless the United States of America.
When we return, we'll assess the Reagan presidency with former Senator and former Reagan Chief of Staff, Howard Baker, with Massachusetts Congressman Barney Frank, who's frequently locked horns with the administration on a variety of issues, and with ABC News White House correspondent Sam Donaldson. Howard Baker was a senator from Tennessee for 18 years until 1985 and served as the Senate's Republican leader during his last 8 years there. In the wake of the Iran-Contra scandal, Senator Baker was asked by the president to replace Donald Reagan as White House Chief of Staff.